Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Test Flight in the F-86 Sabre. And this is the last planned mission that I have for the test flight in the F-86 series. The overall intent of this was just to get me ready to fly a single mission. I don't want to jump into that sort of thing without having made all the mistakes first. So I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. I've gone back and corrected some of them. Some I'll catch later on down the road and go back and correct later on when you're watching single missions or on the range videos. But yeah, the key there is just not to put myself into a position where I'm making mistakes in these pretty well-designed single missions that we get. You know, figure all this stuff out at first, and then get into the single missions and campaigns, and then you'll be able to enjoy them. You'll be able to fly them as intended and not struggle with little mistakes that you could get out of the way up front. That's my theory, at least. I mean, there is no right or wrong way to do this, and if I had to tell you, okay, what type of time frame should this take? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer for that either. You know, if I was doing this without recording and compiling videos, this could have taken maybe a couple of days. It's really just maybe 4, 5 sorties. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, it's taken me a week just because I've been recording everything. But, you know, whatever's comfortable for you, and also your interest in the subject is going to vastly affect how long it takes to learn an aircraft. If you're into something like this, where you're coming in like I was with knowledge and interest in the aircraft already, you might jump on it and just be done in a day and, you know, just really delve into it. If it's something else and you're, you know, just learning something so that you can fly online with your friends, or you're just, you know, doing it just as a passing interest, you know, there really is no right or wrong answer. Weeks, months even, in some cases. With the Huey for me, it was probably about a good month of test flight videos before I finally finished them up, actually pretty recently, and I'm ready to move on to single missions. So just wanted to get that out of the way, since this is probably the last video. Who knows what I'm going to have the energy to go over at the end of this. So yeah, there's just some thoughts on the overall process and why I did what I did during these videos. So okay, let me go ahead and pull up the checklist. We'll get airborne. Now, this mission, by the way, I haven't even mentioned what we're doing this time. Air-to-air. This is going to be an air-to-air employment mission with guns and with GAR-8s. These are AIM-9B models, old AIM-9s, not the reliable type. They're not your standard AIM-9 that you would see on an aircraft today. These are rear aspect only missiles. They're not going to be very effective against moving targets, and you are very, very restricted on what aspect angle the target is. So you have to be right in back of the target, looking practically straight down its tailpipe to pick up the heat signature and allow the missile to track. So we'll see how these work. Rumor has it they're modeled and they're fully functional. I'm not sure, but hey, we'll see as we go. Okay, so checklist. Pre-flight. Okay, okay, all the way back. Okay, interior check, stick grip, belt, seat, rudder pedals, armor switches off. And this is something I did read that is going to be a little bit tweaked in the release version. All these switches will be already preset to off, and there are some more that are going to get cleaned up around the cockpit that will save a little bit of time when it comes to getting everything up and running. Okay, off. Landing gear down, engine master ignition off, battery off, speed brake verified neutral, external power please, F8, F2, F1.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
While power's coming up, breakers in, intervalometer to 1, okay, floor on this one, everything else is exactly as it needs to be. Okay, got this to aft, flaps I'll put to the up position until I get up and running. Okay, tanks off, good lights, I'll go ahead and extend, I'll go pitot on, verify extend, okay, bomb off, okay, everything down here, handles in, oxygen's looking good, clock, I'll start my timer, so maybe I'll catch this at 17 minutes this time and throw a break in here and not have to go back and re-record audio. Okay, lights check, and heat check, and I'll take that as good on the pitot heat. I'll say that my probe is heating up. I will go off until I'm airborne, and let me go ahead and verify, okay, lights on and extended. I'll go to the off position on these until I'm taxied. Maybe I'll remember this time to turn those on. Okay, lab switches off. Okay, all the other instruments are looking good with the exception of the altimeter. I'll go down to 33 feet on it. Okay, good, 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 and good. Okay, good. Test. Okay, densitimeter. Out. Good. Quantity in. Guard down. Okay, I'm leaving the lights off since it's a day mission. I'm not doing any radio navigation. And I'll go radio on. Transmit receive. Position 2 for the tower. Okay, everything else is good. Breakers in. Okay, let me see. Alternate inverter check. Light on. Light off. Okay, let's go ahead and get some engines up and running here. Okay, throttle verified off. Let me go master on. Let me go start. Let me go battery. And let me wait for 3%. 2%. 3%. Outboard. Ignition. 6%. Idle. And good instruments. Good EGT, or it's at least within the normal range for startup. Fuel flow is coming up, RPMs are coming up, and oil pressure will start to come up here momentarily. Okay, so let me press on through here. Okay, drop tanks. Verified all tanks off. I have no drop tanks this time. External power. Let me go ahead and get that off. Okay, F8. F2, F2. Okay, I'm stable at ground idle, but I will push the throttle up to about 45%. So I get the generator kick in, okay, and generator light off. Okay, I'll leave it right there. Got it. Okay, hydraulic pressure check. Let me go for, actually let me go reset and normal. Okay, light off. Okay, good movement. Gauge is in the green again. Let me go alternate. Alternate. Light on. Okay, cycle the stick. Got good movement. Hydraulic pressure is going to come back up here in just a second. And I'm going to dispense with the emergency manual override system check because this is flight number 3 of the day. I only do that on the first flight of the day. Okay, this should stabilize 2550 to 3200 here momentarily. Okay, good enough. Let me go to utility, do my utility check. Actually, let me go to reset normal, light off. Okay, speed brakes open and closed. Okay, speed brakes should be full closed now. And good utility hydraulic pressure. Then go back to normal on the gauge. Let me verify speed brakes are closed. Got it. Okay, and verify emergency override handle is in. Got that. And load meter and voltmeter. Good and good. Okay, let's go ahead and taxi. Okay, pins out. Chocks out. And throttle. Let's go ahead and go nose wheel steering engage. Okay, throttle advance. We call for taxi clearance, however. F5, F1, F1. Okay, throttle. Brake check. Good brakes. Good, because I was going to taxi anyway. Okay, nose wheel steering. And bring it on over. And get lined up on the runway, run through the rest of the check. I think I'm getting the hang of nose wheel steering, and I mean, like I've said before and have said all along, it's all about just planning ahead. And like I'm going to try on this one to actually hit the center line. You just have to just kind of plan ahead and just kind of recenter the rudder pedals at the right time. Just kind of lead it a little bit. I'll take that. Okay, let me go ahead and engage the brakes, line up on the center line, and go through my before takeoff checks. Okay, armament switches verified off. Trim for takeoff. Okay, trim. Light on. Lateral good. Rudder trim. Okay, good lights. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm just on the takeoff roll. And this was something that was noted on the forums recently also. It just seems a way tail heavy. With the flaps down and the trim, takeoff trim set to where it's at. I'm going to go just slightly forward on the trim setup. And I know that, you know, when I rotate, I'm shooting for just getting the nose wheel barely off the runway. I'm just holding it in a level attitude. And it seems like it just kind of propagates from there, and that no matter what I do, it's just flying itself off the runway. I want it to be a conscious decision on my part to fly the aircraft off the runway at a certain speed. That's how it's called out in the manual, and that's what I would like to do instead of just having the aircraft, you know, just kind of do what it does on its own. Okay, I'm going to go flaps down. I'm going to go canopy close. I'm going to go retract on my screen. I'm going to re-extend my screen. Okay, got that. Okay, oxygen normal, canopy closed down. Got that, got that, got that. Okay, two brakes hold. I'm going to dispense with the emergency check since it's flight number 3. You only do that on the first flight, unless you really, really want to. Okay, throttle full open, engine instruments check, and then we're into the normal takeoff. So let me stow the checklist. Okay, and run them up to 100%. Or run it up to 100%. Okay, good fuel flow, good EGT, good oil pressure. Okay, I believe I am all set. Okay, let me just have one more breeze around the cockpit. I've been rushing things a little bit lately, just trying to... I don't know why, but... Okay, good, good. Okay, yeah, landing lights. Let me get that. Let me go pitot heat on. Everything else, yeah, good to go. Okay, got it. Okay, let me release brakes. Just maintain control down the runway. I still haven't added wind to this mission. I'll do that. I mean, I'll see the wind once I get into the single missions. But what I would expect is for it to crab into, or for the nose to track into the wind. Okay, release nose wheel steering button, 100 knots. And I was going for, I never did compute this, but I'll go for about 122, 135. Okay, so level flight, 135, fly it off the runway. That's a lot better. I like that feel right there. That's how I mean, not that I would really know how to, or what to expect flying an F-86, but that felt right. That was just a touch of aft stick to get the nose wheel off the runway, and then, let me go flaps up. And then, once I hit my takeoff speed, rotate and fly it off. That was more along the lines of what I expected, and that was just putting the trim just forward of the takeoff trim position. Okay, number 2 is is on the roll. Let me go to channel 1. Listen in as 2 gets airborne. How am I doing on time? I'm at 9 minutes, just fine. Okay, now out here in the distance, I have 4 MiG-15s orbiting over the range. They're just drone aircraft. They're not going to react to me or try to shoot me down, thank goodness. So they're just going to give me a steady target out there to try the missiles out on and to try the gun sight out on. And then we'll get into some employment once I start to run into the single missions. Although I truly do hate air-to-air. I don't know why. I think it's... Well, I do know why. It's because the way that it's presented in flight sims, air-to-air turns into this big arcade shoot-down aircraft fest. You know, an average pilot is going to go an entire career without even seeing an enemy aircraft. You know, in wartime, that's the exception, but a lot of missions that you see just require you to shoot down like 5 aircraft just to proceed in the campaign or just to proceed in the mission. That's not necessarily talking about DCS. I like the missions in DCS, but I'm talking flight sims in general. They just turn air-to-air into this big arcade thing that I just despise. And, well, not despise. I mean, I like flight simming, and I do air-to-air every now and then, but air-to-ground, to me, is where it's more challenging to me, and it's what I enjoy doing more. And, you know, air-to-air is fun. I mean, that's why most people probably do air-to-air. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's all about personal taste, and I just like air-to-ground, but I'm still going to press on and figure out how to do air-to-air in this sim. That is, after I do air-to-ground, because I did bring a full load of bombs. So what I'm going to do is try out that automatic bombing mode. I've been putting a lot of thought, probably way too much thought, into the way that the automatic bombing with the A4 sight works. So let me go auto-release, go nose-tail arming. Okay, got that. Let me go to bomb on my sight, selector dial. Okay, 0 wind, got that. Okay, I'm going to leave the gun stuff off. I'm going to do this in the pure automatic A4 sight mode and not use the manual pip system, although, yeah, primarily I'm going to be using the manual pip system. That is yeah, without a doubt, the better of the two options. I mean, no matter how you shake it. Just tactically speaking, because you can keep the target in sight. And let me try to explain what just has me really, really puzzled about the automatic system in the A4 sight. Now, part of any computed bomb delivery, probably one of, if not the most important part of it, is target altitude. So target altitude in relation to your altitude. I have no clue how the A4 gets target altitude. It's not from the radar. There are no dials for target altitude. I just do not have a clue how it could possibly compute an impact point without knowing the target altitude. I mean, that's just something to think about. There is going to be a simple answer to that, and I'm sure somewhere here in my documentation, somewhere I've got a manual or somewhere I've got a book that explains the A4 sight and exactly what's going on when it does the automatic bombing computations. But yeah, I'm just puzzled as to how this works, and you know, my theory, at least my working theory, is that it's not computing an impact point at all. It's computing a parabola, a parabolic arc, and when the gyros in the sight senses that the aircraft is on that arc, it's going to release. I don't think it's computing an impact point at all. I just think it's looking for the aircraft to be within certain parameters and effect a release from there. And I think those parameters are going to be, is it or is it not flying in a parabolic arc? That's my theory. I have no idea, but I will find out. This is not the kind of problem that's in my nature to just let go and trust it. And I was critical last video of the A4 sight. It's not the implementation of the sight that I'm critical of, it's the method that you employ weapons using the sight that I'm critical of, because it requires a nose over onto the target, and it just confuses me. I don't know how it can possibly be accurate, but apparently it is, and apparently it was, and how that works I will find out, I guarantee, at some point. Okay, so I'm set up now for a bombs delivery after my little, I don't do diatribes often, but there was one. Okay, so got that set up. I'm set up now for a release. All I need to do is pickle. What I need to do now is uncage the sight. Okay, I'm at about 13,000 feet. I'm just going to come over and dive on one of these targets at random. I'm going to use a moderate dive angle, say 40 degrees, 45, 50 degrees. See, and here's reason number one. I hate this because I can't see the target, and I don't like that. Okay. So, okay. Depress the electrical caging switch. I'm going to extend the speed brakes. I'm going to nose over onto the target. I'm going to pull the throttle to idle. I'm going to try to pick out one of these targets. And yeah, see, I mean, it's just luck where you end up on your rollout. I'll just shoot for somewhere right there. Okay, release, depress and hold, bomb away, and I don't know. I mean, it works. I mean, I have no idea that that's correct implementation of the sight. And I mean, it's accurate. I just don't know why it's accurate, and that's what really bothers me. Okay, so let me come around for one more pass on that. Well, it's actually kind of fun, but I mean, what's dangerous about it is that you're nosing over, and I'll look at the G meter this time, because if you release a bomb in negative G conditions, the bomb is not going to release from the aircraft. It's going to like stay there and impact the aircraft. This is why the manual PIP system was, my understanding, why the manual PIP system was implemented. Okay, so cage, nose over, speed brakes out, throttle's idle. Throttle idle. Okay, I'll just shoot for this point to the left of it. I can't correct from here. Release. Pickle. I don't know. It's just a mystery as to... I mean, it's got to have something to do with the arc. It's got to have something to do with the parabola. Because it's not computing an impact point. That I'm just almost positive of. But I mean, that's... I mean, that... Done correctly, done from the right criteria, done from the right parameters, a parabola is going to get you on target. That's why that's my working theory as to how the internal workings of the A4 determines when to release a bomb. The other mystery is if I have the sight electrically caged, like right now I'm flying straight and level. Okay, I electrically caged the sight. I nose over. I mean, I release it and it immediately flashes out. It immediately senses that, okay, now's the time to release a bomb. I mean, what's happening there? If I have it electrically caged, is it still making updates within the sight? Is it, I mean, what's the significance of the caging at that point, other than to, I mean, what am I actually doing there, and what else is going on internal to the sight that is allowing it to compute, you know, based on where the reticle is? Lots of mysteries. I will get to the bottom of this, because this is the type of little engineering mystery that I just love, if you can't tell. Okay, I also have rockets. Let me get rid of these rockets so we can move on to some air-to-air. That is after I take a break, so I did remember this time. Okay, so this is going to... yeah, this will end part 1, so thanks again for watching, and I'll come back next time with rocket delivery, and then move on to air-to-air. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.